come on in, pull up a chair and take a load off, because today I'll be reviewing the Pathfinder Second Edition Bestiary Volume 2 from Paizo Inc. So does this include over 300 additional must-have monsters to bring to your Pathfinder gaming table? Well, you're going to find out right after this. Howdy, 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 gang. Yes, I'm Jeff McAleer, back once again as your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. As I mentioned in the open, we are going to be taking a look at the second bestiary for Pathfinder Second Edition in just a few moments. But first off, I do want to point out that if you are looking for a very detailed page through of this book, by all means, check out my first look video. I'll put a little card right up in the corner here for you to click on. I actually go through each and every page of this book, and it's been a fairly popular video. With that said, I am not going to go through every single page during this review. I'm only going to show off a little bit of the book because I covered it in a lot of detail previously. Anyway, I'm going to get into that in just a moment, but I do want to point out that if you like the video, by all means, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and if you do subscribe, ring that notification bell. It'll inform you not only when I upload standalone videos such as this, it'll also tell you when my live stream, The Daily Dope, airs right here on YouTube, Monday through Thursday nights. As I mentioned, we've got the Pathfinder Second Edition Bestiary 2 from Paizo Inc. I know some people, give me a hard time if I say bestiary or bestiary. It's actually correct either way. So I guess I'll stick to bestiary for this video. This 319-page hardcover is available. Actually, it's 320 pages, but that 20th page is kind of open game license info. Anyway, it is available in hardcover for $49.99. You can also score the PDF for $14.99. So let's swing on over to the other camera and we'll dive in and I will share my thoughts on the second bestiary for Pathfinder Second Edition. Here we have the Bestiary 2 for Pathfinder Second Edition. And we're going to dive on in here. I will mention that both of the cats are down here in the Duct Tape Studios today. So Pinky is already in fine form, so we might hear her kind of chiming in from time to time. Hopefully not, but she likes to make sure that people know she's around. But let's jump in here. So as with most monster manuals, most bestiaries, you're going to see that we start off with some information about the particulars of understanding what these stat blocks look like. What are we reading? So it's going to give us a breakdown on perception bonuses, languages, special traits, spells that are available to these creatures and monsters as well. We have some adjustments. So there are over 300 monsters in this book. Maybe you want to make some of the bigger bads a little easier to take on for maybe some lower level characters, or maybe you want to do the opposite of that and kind of boost the power of some of these creatures and monsters. We've got a little bit of information here talking about gear, languages, skills, perception, proficiencies. These sidebar icons are very cool because you'll notice each of these entries does have a little bit of a sidebar, a little side box, and maybe there's advice and new rules about that particular creature, or creatures that are related to it, or additional lore, or special locations that might be found in, or even treasures and different kind of gear that might be associated with it. So kind of giving you an idea of the book itself and the artwork within. As I already mentioned, if you want to see pretty much everything that's in the Bestiary #2, Volume 2, by all means, check out my first look video where I do a complete page through for all this. So we're going to just kind of flip through kind of quick some of these, show off some of the artwork. I really love the second edition art style. It's just me. I know there are a lot of people out there who are big fans of Pathfinder's first edition art style, and that's okay. I mean, I get it. And to be honest, it was one of the ways that the first edition kind of stood out from other fantasy role-playing games out there. Just my personal preference. I like a little more of a realistic look to the monsters, but to kind of give you an idea of what you're looking at for each of these entries. So we're in a section here. It's talking about demons. So we're looking at an apocalypse demon. Not even going to try to pronounce that. So we're going to get an area up top. Usually get kind of a breakdown telling us a little bit about the creature itself. Then we start getting into the stat block, talking about we're going to see if it's a common creature, we don't get a rarity. But if it's anything that's other than common, we will see some rarities, showing us that this is neutral evil. It's a gargantuan monster. It is a demon or daemon, and it is a fiend. So there is a bit of a kind of tags, almost like keywords as far as the monsters in the book. You will notice down the side, we also kind of have a bit of a section that's going to tell us, oh, okay, kind of breaks down different letters. So if you're trying to find something, it's like, oh, okay, well, this is LN. I'm looking for something that's going to be P. So I know I need to go a little further. So for an example, we'd be getting closer right here. But anyway, so we get perception, languages, different skills. We get the attributes, the modifiers for that, different items. So here in our little sidebar, we do see that's the treasure and gear icon, and it talks about soul gems as gear. Then we get kind of the breakdown of this daemon. And then we get different spells, different special abilities like Apocalypse Breath, Soul Crush, and Swallowing You Whole. Oh, yeah. So kind of give you an idea of some of the different creatures in here. You will find that we do have some kind of regular beasts, such as dolphins, right? So we've got the bottlenose dolphin. We also have orca, which is the killer whale, which is what you're looking at right here, which a lot of people don't realize is actually a dolphin. It is not a whale, even though orcas are called killer whales. Love that art, though. That is very, very cool looking. Like I said, that is one of the things that really, really pops, in my opinion, with second edition. Just the artwork. And I'm a sucker for monster manuals and bestiaries. I am. I always have been. It just, I'll read through a lot of these entries and I just sit there and it gets my juices flowing to start running something. Because I've been running role-playing games for nearly 40 years. One thing I will mention, though, there are some entries here that do not have images. So, for an example, we're looking at dragons here. We've got a few different dragons, but not every one of these kind of subcategories of creatures will have an image. But that said, every creature, there will be an image for the entry. But here we've got quite a lot of different dragons. So we're not going to see images of each and every kind of dragon here. And of course, there's different ages as well for the dragons. But yes, that looks, to me, that almost looks like a deep one for like Lovecraftian adventure. There are some Lovecraftian monsters in here, some Cthulhu mythos creatures in here as well. Just kind of giving you an idea. It's another creepy, the Nuglub. It's like, okay. Hello, Nuglub. The Jabberwock. One of the baddest monsters in all of Pathfinder is the Jabberwock. So, just giving you an idea. It's kind of flipping through here real quickly. Another couple of creepy looking creatures there. there is a lot of imagination going on with these monsters as well. I will point out that just by taking a look at the kind of stat blocks and all the info, this can be kind of overwhelming, especially as far as trying to keep all this information, in your, top of your head at the game table. So some of this is a little too much. What I'm trying to say is you're not really going to see a lot of use of having this book directly at your game table as a game master to just pull things out on the fly, is what I mean. Of course, if you already have your own adventure that you've kind of put together, or maybe you're running one of the fantastic published adventures that are available from Paizo, then you're already going to know, okay, well, we've got these creatures that may appear as random encounters, or I know that we're going to run into ogre spiders at some point. So yes, you're going to have some of these entries on, pretty much on the top of your mind or bookmarked or what have you. But there is a lot of detail. There is tons and tons of detail. And some game masters, especially those new to role-playing games, might be a little overwhelmed, but stick with it. There is a lot of cool stuff in this book. The giant tick. Oh, that'd be gross. Anyway, so kind of give you an idea. Then we have at the back of the book, we have our final entry is the Zomak. But we get a glossary of the different abilities. So that gives you a breakdown so you know exactly what each of those abilities do. We get some traits. And then we also get kind of their levels. Give you a level. This gives us a breakdown of types of creatures as well. And as I mentioned, toughest monster in the book, well, it's a tie between the Solar Angel and the Jabberwock. So that is a quick look at the Pathfinder Second Edition Bestiary number 2. So let's swing on over to the other camera. I'll share my final thoughts and give this a review score. So what do I think of the Bestiary Volume 2 for Second Edition Pathfinder? Well, as I mentioned, I'm a sucker for monster books. Always have been, probably always will be, especially good monster books. I really, really do like this Bestiary. Just like the first Bestiary came out, I think this is excellent. Another excellent production from the fine folks over at Paizo Inc. Dig the artwork a lot. I really love the new direction as far as the second edition Pathfinder artwork. I know there are loads and loads of fans out there for the first edition artwork style, and I get it. I completely understand. It's just my opinion, just my personal taste, but I definitely like the more realistic approach to much of the artwork in this Bestiary Volume 2. There's loads of information. You're not completely overwhelmed. A lot of times with most of these monsters, you've got pretty much one page of information for each. And of course, you've got your stat blocks and there's special abilities and so on and so forth. You can dive right into. One thing I will ding the book a little bit for, and this is, I did the same thing for the first Bestiary. It's probably not as intuitive at the game table, if you were to have this at your game table, because there is a lot of information. There is a lot of info about each of these creatures and monsters that maybe it's just me, but at this point in life, I can't keep all that stuff right on the top of my head. So ding it just a little bit, just simply because sometimes the information itself is a little bit overwhelming, especially when we start getting into more than one page of info for a particular monster. Other little thing that I kind of ding it for is that some of the monster like subcategories, subclasses, I probably would have liked to have seen some images for, as opposed to maybe some of the kind of standard class of creatures. But once again, that's just very, very minor. These are very, very minor critiques, because all in all, I really do think that this bestiary is excellent. Got to point out, you can easily tweak some things from this to bring these monsters to any fantasy role-playing game that is similar mechanically to a D20 game. I don't know if you could really take this and take it with like Dungeon World or something like that. But for the most part, any sort of D20 fantasy game, you can tweak this pretty easily and bring all these baddies and goodies to your game table. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I most definitely give the Pathfinder Second Edition Bestiary Volume 2 a 9.5 out of 10. That's how good I think it is. I think it is excellent. If you have any interest in Pathfinder, if you're playing Second Edition Pathfinder and you're a game master, you really want to have this book. I'm sure there are going to be people out there who are kind of segueing over from First Edition, which had a lot of bestiaries for. I'm sure there'll be some folks out there who'll have some critiques. Well, why wasn't this included? How come this is in there? And so on and so forth. All I can say is I'm sure we're going to see more bestiary. So that's probably when the creatures or monsters that you were hoping were in here who may not will probably show up. All right, so that is it for this time out. As I like to always point out, if you dig this video, please give it a thumbs up. And of course, subscribe to the channel. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that notification bell, because if you do, it'll tell you when I upload videos such as this, as well as let you know when my live stream, The Daily Dope, airs Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. All right, that is it for this time out. So as I like to wrap up with, unfortunately, during this pandemic, here's hoping that you stay smart and stay safe. Oh, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel by clicking right here. And of course, if you want to catch up on past episodes of The Daily Dope, check out this playlist. And if you'd like to see what YouTube's recommending you take a peek at from the channel, just give a click right over here. Of course, I'm Jeff McAleer, and once again, thank you very much for watching.